Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking WWE 2K20 and we're talking weapons, because I'm asking you the question, what weapons do you want to see in the next installment of the WWE Games franchise? Now before we get into it, I want to make sure you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell turned on so you stay up to date with all my WWE Games content. Now the reason why I want to talk about weapons in WWE 2K20 is because I think it's time to reinvent the wheel, the weapon wheel. And that weapon wheel hasn't had any significant improvement since 2K14 all the way up to 2K19. But not just looking at new weapons to be added to that wheel, but also as well how we use those weapons and how we interact with them. I think there is so much potential when it comes to weapons in a WWE game, and at the moment we've only just scratched the surface. So the weapon wheel. At the moment we have ladders, chairs, baseball bats, kendo sticks, sledgehammers and tables. And we've had them for a long time. Now some of you might say, well, 2K introduced backstage brawls and that allowed us to access more weapons, but we still can't access them in the arena, and there are quite a lot of restrictions when using weapons in a WWE game, and I think we need to open them up. So I'm going to give you some examples today of weapons that I think could be introduced. I'm also going to give you some examples on how we can improve the current weapons in a WWE game, and I want to get your views and opinions in the comments section below, because what do you want from weapons in WWE 2K20? So make sure you do join the conversation. So first and foremost, let's talk about some of the weapons that we've currently got in a WWE game at present and how they can be improved. Firstly, let's talk about ladders. Now 2K has given us more assistance with ladders over the years. There were the times where ladders would be quite key in the game botching out, and it did create some exciting spots, but then it could also ruin matches too. So 2K has assisted us in allowing us to set up ladders in certain ways so they are positioned perfectly in the ring. But I don't think in this instance they've given us enough assistance, because we should be able to set up the ladder in different ways. So for example, in the corner of the ring at present, you're only able to set up the ladder in one way, leaning it against the turnbuckles. As you see here with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, this is another instance that we used to have in a WWE game where you could set the ladder up between the turnbuckles. I think we should have the option to do this, and we should be given more variety in how we set up a weapon like a ladder. Not just that as well, I think we could have mini games with the ladder. And we see another shot here of Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, and this time Razor is focusing on a body part of Shawn Michaels. He's focusing on the leg. So I'd like the option of, when I'm going to use a weapon, I can either strike my opponent or be given the option to interact with that weapon and target a body part. And that means, like you see here, I take the ladder, I apply it to the leg of Shawn Michaels, and then I produce an attack. And it could be a mini game where Shawn Michaels has the opportunity to reverse. I just think, again, this gives us great variety and great interaction with weapons. And that's an important word I'm going to be using throughout this video: interaction. We should have that ability, and whether or not 2K structure it like a mini game or not, that's up to them. But we should have this in a WWE game where we don't just have the option to strike an opponent, but we should be able to interact with the weapon too. So let's take a look at another example of a weapon that we've got at the moment where I think we could make much better use out of it, and that is the steel chair. Now I said about just being limited to striking, and striking actually could be improved too, because I sometimes feel like the impact of a steel chair shot to the back doesn't always feel like it should. It should feel like it really hurts the opponent. And I just kind of see the same animation graphic each and every time when we've actually got in-game cutscenes that make the chair shots feel much more special. So it's kind of weird to say that a chair shot is special, but it is if it's performed correctly, because it's a big moment in a match. So I think, as you see here, the intensity that Brock Lesnar is hitting Roman Reigns with that steel chair, that's what I want to see in a WWE game. I want to see different variations of chair shots, much like I said with the ladder, where you can actually target the leg, and that would actually spark a different type of pose from Lesnar to hit Reigns with the chair. If he focuses on the back, again, it's a different type of action. And then if he focuses on the head, I'm not talking about a chair shot to the head specifically, but if he did focus there, again, it would have another variation of a chair shot. At the moment, it's just the same look, the same thing every time. Now, talking about steel chairs and how we can improve on them, moving away from just the chair shot itself, well, why can't we set up a steel chair? Stack steel chairs. We've seen in the past superstars take power bombs through 2 chairs. I think that should be a possibility in WWE 2K20. I think you should just be able to set up numerous chairs like you're seeing here between Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. And to go one step further, why can't you perform diving moves with a steel chair? Just like here, where Mysterio has slid through the bottom rope with the steel chair hugging it to his chest, and he's going to land down on Randy Orton. I think that interaction with the chair again would be rather awesome. Not just that as well, the placement of the chair. I think at the moment you can only just kind of drop the chair. You can't really place the chair very well. You almost have to fiddle around to get the right place to drop it. So I would like a bit more assistance with placing the chair down, so I put it in the right position, then I can perform a move on it. But not just putting it on the mat, why can't I put it on a table? Why can't I stack my chairs? If I could do this as well, it should open up more possibilities to use the steel chair and create some epic moments. So as you're seeing from these shots here, WWE are way ahead of this because they've been doing it for years, yet the WWE game hasn't caught up, particularly with TLC. There are some fantastic moments, and again, the only place you really get these moments are using the in-game cutscenes, and they're quite limited too. You can't actually perform these moments in the match, and I don't think these always have to be OMG moments. They could be specific moves, but again, you could introduce a mini game which actually the outcome is something like a major move being done to an opponent. So as you can see right here, there's plenty of options to improve steel chairs too. Let's move on. The trash can. The trash can is a great weapon, but it's pretty limited in a WWE game. It's positioned in places where you can't really make great use of it. It's actually in the crowd sometimes, or it's backstage, but you can't actually get it in the ring. And I think again, that's very disappointing. It's limiting you to using weapons. And I kind of think that, you know, this sort of weapon, if it's available in a WWE game, why can't you pick and choose what you want to put in the wheel in the first place? I think you should be able to hand pick the weapons that you want in that wheel so you can reveal them during the match. And again, the actual trash can itself is a great weapon to interact with. For example, with certain superstars, Shane McMahon, who does the coast to coast. You could use the trash can or a steel chair, stack it against your opponent, then climb to the top rope and interact with it. And I also think it opens an opportunity of what you see here, where if you are in a triple threat match, if you time it right, and Shane McMahon is going for the coast to coast with the trash can, you could actually stop that mid-move and perform, for example, like you see here with Shawn Michaels, a super kick. So it just adds more excitement to the match. If you time it spot on, you could break that moment with a reversal, if you will. So I think, again, trash cans, which were quite common and are quite common in a WWE game have kind of taken a bit of a step back, and I think they need to be brought to the front because they look great when they're getting clonked over someone's head, or even when you actually put the trash can on a superstar and you beat the living crap out of it. Another example as well, you could interact with two weapons. I like the idea, like I said earlier, stacking a chair on a table. Well, why not, once you put the weapon, the trash can, over the head of a superstar, go and pick up a kendo stick and whip that trash can. Then it's doubling up, and again, we've seen all this in WWE. So let's move on and talk about another weapon where it's the same as the trash can. It's currently in a WWE game, but you can't actually get that weapon into the arena, and we've seen this used many times. The fire extinguisher. Oh my god, it looks awesome in a WWE game when you can use it, but it's pretty damn rare. You've got it at your disposal, but you just can't use it enough. So again, you should be able to apply the fire extinguisher to the wheel so you can produce that from under the ring. Or you should be able to put weapons where you want, going one step further. Actually being able to say, look, I want in this area these weapons, under the ring I want these weapons, and then you can go and get them and you can create the moments that you want in your match. And as you see here between Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose, the fire extinguisher was used in the arena, and it would just create an absolutely awesome moment in a matchup if you could produce this. And it's different because you get that big puff of the fire extinguisher going off, and I just kind of love that. And I've also thought about this a little bit more if we take it one step further and we think about TV monitors. So actually inside the table you've got the monitors, but you can't interact with them once they've been pulled out. Now I'd kind of like it because we've seen monitors explode from time to time, that maybe with the monitor and the fire extinguisher you have a timer on how long you get to use that weapon, and if you don't use it in the allocated time, then simply that weapon is gonna go off. So for example, if you use the monitor, it's been pulled out of its circuits and its wiring, you've got a few seconds or maybe 10 seconds to use it, otherwise it's going to backfire on you and go off in your face and detriment you as opposed to your opponent. Maybe the same could be with the fire extinguisher, where if you take too long, you actually fiddle with it and it goes off in your own face. So I just think something like that adds a more exciting moment, and then it means that you've actually got to get a move on and use the weapon at that point in time, as opposed to, look, I'll just do what I like with it. And of course you should have the option to turn that timer off if you want to, but I think it's a great option to have in there as well, because then it does really test you as a player to quickly use that weapon and make great use of it. So again, fire extinguisher needs to be given more access, and then things like the monitors in the table, once they're pulled out, they should be fair game to use. So in a moment we're going to kind of crank things up here when it comes to the weapons, because I'm going to talk about a few weapons that are slightly more extreme and a little more risque. But before we go there, there's a few weapons that simply disappear, and in all honesty they would be great if they just stuck around. One of which we've seen used over the years so many times when desperate times call for desperate measures is the ring bell. It's not even at ringside anymore. For many years in a WWE game, you could head outside the ring and go and grab the ring bell and strike your opponent. You can't do that anymore in a WWE game. Now, there's so many possibilities with the ring bell. The fact that you could actually, again, have a mini game with the actual timekeeper. How cool would that be? You go over to him, there's a bit of a tussle, a struggle, and depending on the outcome of that, you can come away with the bell or not. That also gives your opponent time to recover if you take too long. But the ring bell itself, you should be able to utilize that and strike your opponent with it, and you should be able to go over to that area and take that. Another item which has seemingly disappeared once a match starts is your championship. If you're a champion, how many times over the years have we seen a champion head out and try and take the cheap route out of the match by grabbing their championship to strike their opponent? In WWE 2K19, you do have times where you can use your championship belt, for example when you're making your way towards the ring, but once the match starts, just like the bell, the belt is not there. And I think that's a great shame, because if you're a champion, you should pride yourself on having that championship with you, so that should sit in the timekeeper's area with the bell, and when you head over there you can pick either one or the other, and you can have the option of either to just simply walk away with your championship, we've seen that done in the past, or take that championship and bring it into the match. If you bring it into the match, it activates a mini game, or it just simply comes into play, and if you get the opportunity to do so, you can strike your opponent with it. But I don't like the fact that things are simply disappearing, particularly things like a championship, which is of great importance to that superstar. And we've actually done that in Universe mode, where we had Luke Harper walk away with the championship, but we couldn't do that without actually cutting and editing it. So we had to actually do that from the superstar's entrance, where he actually can break out and he can have the championship, he can pick it up and walk away with it. Without doing it that way, you can't interact with the championship at all. And there is one other item that I think you could make great use of as well, because again, it's important to a superstar if they've won it, and that is the Money in the Bank. Now, you can use briefcases backstage to strike your opponent, but you can't actually use the Money in the Bank briefcase to hit an opponent at all. And I think that's a great shame, because once again, you've got the title of being Mr. or Miss Money in the Bank, but ultimately you can't do anything with it. I think the Money in the Bank briefcase should sit in the corner of the superstar, so then you've got the bell and the championship in the timekeeper's area, you've got the briefcase in your corner, and if there is an opportunity to do so, you can interact with the Money in the Bank briefcase and bring it into play to either strike your opponent. And again, if you do that, it could backfire on you, it could go wrong, but you have the option to do so. It is there, it is visible, and it simply does not disappear, because if you don't have these options to interact with these items that you have on these superstars, what really is the point of having these? You've got that title, the ability to cash in, but I just think there's so much more that can be done, and it would make them more important, and it would make it better if you're building storylines, for example, in Universe mode, and one of the outcomes is that you use the Money in the Bank briefcase to win a match. I think it works perfectly. I think it would be a great introduction. So, you know, items that have disappeared after the match gets underway, I don't want that anymore. I want them to stick around, and I want the ring bell to be brought back into WWE, because it's a great weapon that can be used. So just a few more suggestions, and one of which I'll save till last, which is the slightly more extreme, but something like this that you see here with Luke Harper, I would honestly love to see in a WWE game. Maybe you can go under the ring, and this could be an oh my god moment, but you activate it and you simply start slinging chairs, and they end up landing on your opponent, and then those chairs in the ring are free game. You can go and pick them up, use them as you want. Maybe it could be some sort of interaction again, but I just think that would be a cool moment to have in a match. And why not? Why can't the chairs be used after they've been brought into play? Something else I was thinking about as well, a new weapon that could be introduced. It's been in WWE games many times in the past. It's actually been handed to you a few times, and that is the guitar. Now, I'm expecting Jeff Jarrett to appear in a WWE game. I'd expect him possibly to be in WWE 2K20, with the fact that he is now a Hall of Famer. And we all know that Jeff Jarrett loved the stroke. He'd love to smash someone over the head with a guitar, and it was one of the most awesome moments to see when he used to do it. He used to make so many people a slapnut, and I really do think that the guitar shot should be brought back to a WWE game. You've got superstars like Elias, who has used the guitar time and time and time again. So the guitar should be an option where you can interact with it and use it. And finally, these are my last two options. They are slightly more extreme, but again, I will say this, these have appeared in WWE before, and of course it's a WWE video game. So these options I don't think are that hard an ask. But the first one, which we've seen not too long ago in WWE, is Thumbtacks. We saw it between Jericho and Ambrose, and I think again that could be used as maybe an oh my god moment, but it would be a great option to interact with if you applied it to the wheel, because you could go and collect them from under the ring. You have the little bag, and then when you have the right moment you can then dispense the thumbtacks and they go all over the ring. And of course maybe again you've got a mini game where you undo the bag, and it could be a case that if your superstar or your opponent gets up quickly enough, he can then stop you from dispensing the thumbtacks. So again, it just makes things more interesting because the opponent has an opportunity to stop you, but you're also in a race against time to actually use that item, and if you do, it will outcome with a very exciting moment. The other option is handcuffs. We've seen handcuffs so many times in WWE, and again I think they'd be a great option to be used in a WWE video game. It can nullify your opponent. He won't be able to do anything. He or she won't be able to do anything. There could be a way that you could break free, so there's options for your opponent. It's again a race against time. Once it's been hooked onto you and applied, you can then either connect it to the ropes, connect it to the ring post. I mean, there could be loads of options for handcuffs. You can either cuff your opponent behind their back, cuff them to something, and again, then you can make great use of where your opponent is, you know, not able to fight back and perform some rather cool moves. Or the other way round, your opponent can break free, and even more awesome would be an opportunity where you turn the tables. You're trying to apply the cuffs, let's say to the rope, and if you do a right combination, you can actually reverse that and reverse the cuffs, and then it's you who's cuffed to the ropes, and your opponent then can mount some offense. So I just think, again, using the option of maybe mini games. I'm just saying mini games because I think that indicates that there's a bit more work to be done than simply just, you know, picking up an item and then it's job done. I think that it actually allows you to have a bit more fun with it, because there's either a race against time to actually use an item, or, you know, it's a back and forth between you and that opponent. But there could be loads of ways that you could actually do this. The main thing is that these items and everything that I've covered in this video allow you to have great interaction, some flexibility as well, and if there are, you know, prompts from 2K, they actually assist you in using these weapons. Not restrict you, but assist you. So I want to get your views and opinions. I think we covered quite a lot in this video. There's probably more that you can list in the comment section. I'd love to hear them. And I'd also like to hear your theories on how these items, these weapons, can be used. So like I'm saying with the mini games, how would you actually have items be interacted with? For example, the handcuffs, the thumbtacks. Would you think about stacking chairs, and how would that work? I want to get your views and opinions on this. What do you want when it comes to weapons in WWE 2K20? I think I gave you a few to think about. All that's left to be said is please rate, comment, and subscribe. 2K, make it happen. This is Delzinski signing out.